Hello. I'm back in. Oh, got again. I'm done. It's going to bed. It doesn't seem at all. It doesn't seem to be doing what it's doing. Shows the real time traffic is half a megabyte. Half a megabyte. How is that even possible? I don't understand. How's it doing that? Why is it doing that? I can't imagine. My router is supposed to be such a great router. Is it back? Such a great router. All right. Maybe we're back. Uh, I don't know, man. It's killing me. Well, it looks like I'm on the internet on YouTube. All right. So, run. That's all I can tell you. I had Ryan on here. He was my only person watching. Now he's probably gone to bed. He's a sleepy dude. Oh, I am back. Question mark, question mark, question mark. All right. So, I want to say this is good. Let me wave my hand at myself on YouTube. A little bit of delay. There it is. Okay, I'm turning off my connection to YouTube. Let's just see what the router says now that my real-time IP traffic is. There we go. None, basically. Yep, no IP traffic. It would just die out and go away. I'll shut it down. Let's look at bandwidth then. What does bandwidth look like in real time? None. None at all. I don't understand. Real time is nothing. IP traffic in real time is nothing. Oh, we're still going out over the internet waves. We're going to have to start my new back. We're going to just spend a whole stupid time trying to figure out if I have internet. Heads are going to roll. Heads are going to roll. That's all I can tell you. Somebody, somehow, should be held responsible. And I'm afraid it's this guy right here. All right. We're building up speed, it looks like. Mr. Ryan, are you still out there? One day I'm going to do a show about this router. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to minimize my YouTube because I'll sit there and look at my beautiful face the whole time. So I'm going to minimize that. Let me jump back over here just one last time. All right, IP traffic in real time is 0.12 megabytes per second, which doesn't seem like a lot. Is it skipping? I mean, when I look at myself on YouTube, It looks like I do okay when I do that. So let's see. There's about a 6-second delay. Now move your head, Milo. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Do it. Man, there's more than 6 seconds. Oh, I know what the problem is too. Okay. Stop looking at myself. Let's get back over to here. Let's minimize myself again. I'm sorry, you're probably watching the Minutes of Milo show right now, and you could have been doing something really constructive. Trimming your toenails. I don't know, man. Organizing that sock drawer. Bleaching the underwear. Something. Oh, my goodness. It's terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I want to get into this router thing, but I'm not going to. That wasn't the premise of this show. The premise of the show was some basic outdoor survival skills. Yeah, I know. Everybody needs to clip their toenails. I'll have to do another show when the Powerball gets up really high again. I do What Would You Do with $1 Billion? I'm going to do another one of them shows. We'll talk about personal hygiene. Because I wouldn't do personal hygiene. I would just pay somebody to do my personal hygiene. And then I'd like swear them to secrecy, one of those non-disclosure form things. And just keep them on retainer. I wouldn't have to do nothing. Nose hairs, ear hair, toenails. Get your teeth cleaned all the time so you wouldn't have to brush them every day. Right? I mean, jeez. Couldn't you make up for a week's worth of brushing with a good cleaning? You could hire your own dental hygienist if you have $1 billion. Put you a chair downstairs, a garden hose, shop vac. You wouldn't have to brush your teeth for a week. You just have her come in and clean your teeth once a week. Get your polisher out, polish that thing up, polish your teeth up. Anyway, outdoor survival skills. I have to say, legally, I am no outdoor survival skills expert. Now, that being said, I have been outdoors and survived. So, I'm just saying, I have been outdoors at night and survived. So, there you go. Take it for what it's worth. But when I was a child, a small, small child, my dad bought me an outdoor survival skills book by Larry Dean Olson. Did I practice them? Did I go out and camp in the woods at night by myself? No. Am I a city boy? No. But, I mean, like everybody else, most people. I stayed out a pup tent, what they call a pup tent, but in the backyard. I didn't go out and eat earthworms and do survivor skill stuff. I probably should have, but I didn't. But my dad still got me the book, probably because he wanted me to go outside and get out of the house, boy. You got something to do. All right. So, knowing that I'm no expert, I do have some pretty good tips. First off, if you want to survive the outdoors, the best way to do that is try and get a piece of paper and write this down so you won't forget it. There's really the number one skill for surviving the outdoors, and everybody has it. They just don't realize it. Just don't go outdoors. Does that not sound logic? If you want to survive a car crash, don't get in a car. You want to survive that plane crash? Don't get an airplane. Just don't go outdoors. Stay inside, watch TV. Boom, solved. That's the only skill you need. Laziness. Laziness. Cultivate your laziness. Don't go outside. Survive the outdoors by staying inside. Get you a puppy. Oh, no. You have to take them outside. Don't get a puppy. Get a goldfish. Get a betta fish. Get two betta fish. And then when you're bored, you just push the bowls together and watch them get all tense and fluff up at each other. But no, all seriousness, people should have some understanding of outdoor skills. Everybody should. So, my first suggestion on outdoor survival is to be paranoid. If you're going to go for, I'm just going to go down to the park and swing on the swing set. What's the first thing everybody needs to do? Take your cell phone. Cell phones are a pain in the butt. They've made us stupid. They've made us dumb. But they've also made us safer. You know, you go down to the park, you're taking your kid just to go on a swing set, take your cell phone. If a mean dog comes around and you're afraid, you feel fearful, you got your phone right there. You don't have to go, you know, I'm here all by myself. I got to flag a car down or something because now this dog's here barking at me. You know what I mean. Take precautions. Plan ahead. Gonna go down to the swing set. I'm not telling you, you know, to take, I don't know, all kinds of stuff with you. But be prepared. Think of some things. Take a bottle of water. You know, take some sunscreen if you're going to summertime. Going swinging, it's probably summertime. You know, think ahead. You don't have to be a Boy Scout, but be a little paranoid. Be a little, you know, let's think this through a bit. What might I need? You know, if you got small kids, you're out there on the playground. If you go driving in your car, keep you a first aid kit. Okay? Keep your sunscreen. A lot of people have what they call a go bag. So you keep it stocked. If you're a parent and you've had little kids, you know what's in that diaper bag. So first kid, you learn what to put in a diaper bag. Second kid, that thing is like the best survival kit ever. So put your little go bag together, keep it in the car, you know, flashlights and all those things, first aid kits, jumper cables. And I know this isn't like outdoor, you know, well, I can eat nuts and berries and all that. This is basic stuff. If you have a go bag, it's good for when you go to the playground, or it's good for when you go out to the dam and walk around, or if you go on a little, you know, afternoon hike. That's what it's good for. And they call it a go bag because let's say, you know, you go down to the swing set and you drink a bottle of water and your kid scuffs their knee and you pull out the band-aid and you put some Neosporin on. You have to replenish those things. You know, just not magic. So you got to keep up with it. But have something. And then if you go out and you find, well, you know, I really needed you know, I don't know, a toothpick. Then when you get home, put a toothpick in that thing so that you always have, you know, a fairly decent go bag. So that would be the really first suggestion is come up with a backpack or something. Get on the internet and say, what's the best basic go bag? Well, maybe you've got one that you keep in the car for the kids. Maybe you've got one that you go if you go on an afternoon hike. Maybe that you've got one that you go if you're going on a weekend trip. You know, those kind of things. Make a list. Be prepared, I guess, is a really good outdoor skill. Be prepared. Now, if you're like me, that go bag, it's probably the size of the trunk of the car. Why? I'm a little healthy on the paranoia side. It's like, well, what happens if a plane crashes? I got to save somebody. I need a fire blanket. I need all kinds of things. I need a breathing apparatus. I need oxygen. I got to save people. You know, don't go overboard like me. Just, work it out, but have something. So, what would you put in a go bag? Let's just say outdoor skills. You're going to go on a little hike. You and your woman, you and your partner, you and your husband, whoever it might be, you and your best friend. We're gonna go over to the dam. We're gonna follow one of these trails. We're gonna go down to the lake. Tell somebody where you're going. Leave a note if nobody's home. Leave them a message, text. Hey, me and Jane, Joe, Jimmy, John, whoever, gonna go down to the lake. We're gonna go by the dam. Afterwards, we come back. We're gonna stop somewhere and grab something to eat. So, planning on being down there at 1. Should be home by 4 o'clock. Tell somebody where you're going. Is that like an outdoor skill? No, that's a good communication skill. Good communications. Don't leave them hanging. Don't go, well, I don't know where she went. I don't know where he went. They didn't say when they're going to be back. So, little inscription in here. I got this book in 1973. 1973. Look how it still smells good. Look at that. That thing's brand new. Brand new. And I used to read it. I loved, looking over the things and, reading how people did these things and how to make shelters. And it's very basic. This is a very basic book. But tell people where you're going. Ryan, man, why you got to be like Mr. Mathematician? Now I feel really old. Here, let me get my reading spectacles on so we can look at some of these pages in here. Tell somebody where you're going. File a flight plan. Let them know when you're going to go, where you're going to go, who you're going to go with. Same thing with my parents. Where are you going? Who else is going to be there? What time you think you're going to come back? You got money? You better call me. If you're going to be later, you better call me. Like I said, nowadays, make sure you take your cell phone, make sure it's charged. There's all kinds of things out there that are portable little battery packs. You keep them charged, throw one in your pocket so if something happens and your battery runs dead trying to search for a signal, when you do get into, closer to town, you get a signal, you can pop that little charger on there and bring it back to life. Skills, man. They're not really skills as much as they are ideas, right? So, but let's get into it. Let's just say you do go. And I use this example because that's what we did one day. Sometime back. Me and the wifey and the kids went over to the dam, parked the car, started down this little old path, just a little Sunday afternoon. And, be prepared. If you think you might hit rough terrain, don't wear sandals or flip-flops. Wear good shoes. Sturdy shoes. Take a walking stick. So, bottled water, all those kind of things. Knives, whether it's just a little old pocket knife. I've got a Swiss Army knife. I've got a multi-tool. Kids have multi-tools. Take an extra jacket. Wearing shorts, that's fine. You might take your jacket if you're thinking, well, maybe it's going to rain. Those kind of things. But take some snacks and water, good common sense things. You get out there and something happens, you know, and you can't use your cell phone, then, the best thing they can say is stay put. Somebody else may come down the trail and say, hey, my daughter twisted her ankle or my friend twisted her ankle. I'm going to stay here with her. Would you mind going back and, getting us some help? Or maybe they're willing to help you. So, try to stay together. Have a partner like scuba diving. Stay with your partner. All right? So let's just say that you're frisky and you think that you can go out there and camp overnight. Plenty of camping. And you want to do it rough. You want to do it, you know, not completely out in the wild, but, you're not going to take a tent. You say, I'm going to build me a shelter. I don't want to take a tent. Fine. You got to have something to cut wood with. You got to have all those kind of things. So do your homework. If you think you're going to build your own fire using one of these bow fire making things or the flint and stuff, that's fine. But you know what? Take a lighter with you. Take some matches with you. Have a backup plan. Even though you may think, I'm going to make this extravagant hut out of leaves and sticks and all this stuff, it doesn't hurt to take, plastic with you. If, worst comes to worst, you can string it up between two trees and at least not get rained on. But have a backup plan. But speaking of shelters, I always thought, shelters were, one of the basic things that you need to learn to build. And in the book, it shows different kinds of shelters. Show you a picture or two. All right. So there's you making like a teepee style up here in the top. He's making a pretty good size one up here. So this is one that you could, carefully build a small fire in. And, in the middle, see down here, not this one here, but the one over here, he's covering the base and stuff, working his way up with who knows what. Animal hides. You got to kill like 100 animals the first night you're out there and tan them. So then you can put it on that or pine branches, something. This one down here, he's made it like a little personal hut. And so he's covered it with grass and moss and all those kind of things. But if you're going out there, read up on it. One of the things is to try to find natural shelter. These people are in a cave. Yeah. You got to be careful with caves. Now, a shallow outcropping of rocks where you can get up under it, potentially there may not be a bear living there. And if there is one there, you could see it. But if you go and like find a real cave, whereas you go back, 10 feet, and it starts to get dark, be careful. It may not be a life-threatening animal, but it might be a skunk, could be a possum. I don't know, maybe even a deer run out and knock you down. I'm just saying, be careful. But one of the things I like are these funky shelters. All right. Now, this is a cross section of what they call a sweat lodge. But, that would make a good, really good, more than an overnight shelter because you'd spend a lot of time. If you ever watch these YouTube videos, you spend a lot of time. And this at the top is good. It's a windbreak. So if it starts to get windy or it's going to be windy, you can build one of those. And it's like two little old lattice works together, stuffed with leaves and junk to help, keep the wind off of you. So one of these Some of these, I don't know. I have a hard time believing some of this. Now, people may do it all the time. Around here, I mean, it doesn't snow much. Not much anymore. This would be like for up north, somewhere Alaska. This material in here is snow. All right, so I got to learn this. This is snow. They've dug this hole in the snow, and then they've covered it with branches and twigs and leaves and whatever else they can find. Okay, pine branches, and then they poke a hole to let the smoke out. But they're down in here with a fire and some firewood. Now, you have to figure out a way to get down in there. And maybe it's not, you know, 7 or 8 feet worth of snow like it looks like there. But I guess my thought is you build you a fire. Does it not melt the snow continuously all night? I mean, you may start out, let's just say you start out with this nice square room, and then you build a fire in there, and it's like a candle. The heat radiates out and melts it into not a square anymore, but almost like rounded sides, and it's going to be dripping. So now you're sitting in puddles of water. I just don't know. That's some of the things that I wonder about. I worry about. Now, this thing down here is pretty cool. This is not a shelter, but it uses the windbreak. Where is it? This is the windbreak that we looked at earlier. This is the dude's bedroll, what he's made here. And see there, these 2 layers of things? He's dug a pit. And I guess one of the best things you could take with you would be a shovel or an entrenching tool. But now this guy, he has a list of things that you should take, I believe. And one of them is a digging stick. Sticks are very useful, but he has a digging stick. But now this first layer is under your bedroll is dry grass. And then 10 inches down from that is a hardened surface. And what they do here is he heats rocks. I've read this. Okay, this is how I know it. He heats rocks. He dumps the hot rocks in the pit. He covers that with 3 inches of soil. Then he covers the soil with the dead grass and then puts his bed on it. And then has the windbreak. Like I said, this is one of those deals where you're trying to keep the wind off of you, and you may not have. Might be a beautiful summer night. We think, well, why will you heat rocks in a fire and make a nice, cozy, warm bed if it's the summertime? Because it's going to get cold. If it's like, I don't care. I talked about this on my Survivor series. If it's 90 degrees outside and it gets down to 70 at night, that's cold. If you don't have something to help keep you warm, I mean, I've never done it intentionally. My son has done it. That he would take sleeping bags or blankets or something and just slept out under the stars. So, I mean, it's going to get cool even in the summer night. So, you keep your body insulated from the ground, which sucks out heat out of your body. So if you're heating that underneath you, that would keep you warmer throughout the night. How long? I don't know. I guess it depends on how big the rocks are and how hot you got them, what they're made of, all that kind of junk. All right. So here's a picture up here where he's dug the trench and he's gotten the rocks in. Now, in this scenario here, he's not putting rocks in there. He's dug a trench, he's built a fire, and now what he's doing is throwing live hot coals in this little trench, and this is how he's going to make his bed. And then this one down here is an elaborate setup. And if you're going to go to all this trouble, dude, just make you a shelter. But he has made a stone windbreak and a heat reflector. And he's built a fire beside the heat reflector. And he has his bedroll raised up off the ground. And the way he's depicting it here is the heat from the fire. He's got it kind of capped off the top. So the heat from the fire travels under his bed and then out the foot of the bed like a chimney. And that's how he's planning on staying hot at night. Seems like an awful lot of work. Seems like an awful lot of work. All right, so he tells you how to build a fire, how to make, what does he call these things? Tinder. I know. He makes tinder and he puts them into a bundle. Now, technically, what you can do with this, if you have, he shows you how to do a bow drill, how to make it, all those kind of things. Now, if you're going out on a hike and you're just planning on being gone for 2 or 3 hours, you're probably not going to use this. But it's still interesting. Like I said, take matches. All right. So I've made, that's what I'm saying, Ryan. Stay in your house. That's the first survival skill, just not to go outside. But now I have made little alcohol burning stoves by taking a tin can, cutting around and taking out a section of the middle. Then you squeeze the two pieces together. Okay. Let's see. Did I take, I think it's 2 tin cans and use the bottoms. You cut the bottoms off the tin can or aluminum cans. All right. Aluminum cans. And you fit them together so they're solid. And then you poke holes around the one. You fill that with alcohol. You light it, and the flames come up through the little burner holes. And then you can set, a little pot of water on it or something like that. And it actually works, believe it or not. I've done it. It actually works. Maybe one day I'll show you one. Or maybe I'll make a video. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. But he showed you how to make fire, how to get the tinder. And he also shows you how to make a fire bundle. So if you're camping and moving from place to place like a nomadic tribe would be, Ah, I'm back. We're going to talk about this router one day. So, I was saying you would take a live coal and you would wrap it tightly in tinder and then wrap that in these bark pieces. And you take the coal, the hot coal with you. So then when you get to your next destination, you just prepare the stuff for the fire. You unwrap this, get into the coal, blow on it a little bit, bring it back to life to flame, and then you set it down and it makes the next fire. And you do that over and over and over. In this top one here, he shows this little bundle. Says that the fire bundles, the top bundle has been burning 6 hours. So he says burning, but it's been encased in that, and it's been smoldering. Would be a better term for 6 hours. So in this book, he shows you how to do fire the different ways: the bow, the flint, uh, hand drill, some different things like that. How to get the tinder, flint steel. If you know what you're doing, sometimes you can find flint or things in nature out there while you're walking that when you hit them against steel or each other, they create a spark. So, so a good basic skills book. Now, this is what I talked about before. If you don't have to take a shovel, but you find you a good digging stick, and that's just a sturdy stick that's, stripped down, and it looks like it's probably 2.5 feet long, and it's sharp on one end. You might flatten it out like a little bit of a spoon on the end, but it's sharp so that you could, don't have to use your hands to dig in the soil. This picture, it shows it, harvesting a root plant, and then you eat the root. But so if you don't have a shovel, you can do things like that. Now, one other thing that I found really interesting about this was, let's see if I can find it real quick, is water. Talks about how to make traps too. So how to set up the triggers. These are deadfalls, meaning when the animal runs through it and hits it, the large rock or log or whatever you may have on it falls on them and squishes them. And then you can make, I don't know why they ever would, but see this one over here? The bird is going to jump down into this hole to get your bait and land on the twig, and it's going to let the rock fall. Now the bird's going to be alive in there, but you're going to go in there and get the bird out. Okay? Some of these like this, I don't like it. I like to, if I'm going to kill something, I want to kill it instantly, so it doesn't suffer. But if you're out there and you're surviving and you have a little piece of string, you can do this. This is a snare trap with a rock attached to it, and then on the end is a little twig. Why would you want that? So Mr. Duck comes along and gets that. The snare goes around its neck. It panics. Where does a duck go when it's panicked? It goes to the water. The rock then is drug into the water and pulls Mr. Duck under. All right, Mr. Duck expires under the water because, he needs air to breathe. But the little stick floats on top to help you find where Mr. Duck met his watery demise, so you can get him and have him for supper. Tells you how to make fish traps. I like these. These are cool down here on this side. Fish swim in, fish don't swim out. They get trapped in there. How to make spears. Special skills. how to make antlers and hatchets and knives and arrowheads and stuff like that. But let's see. I thought somewhere there was water. I know there is water. But also a useful skill, a useful thing to know is plants that are edible. Now, see, he's made color pictures of plants, so you know you can tell. Now, this one, I think, is the cattail. Where'd it go? Yep, cattail. Tells you the name of it: food, medicine, tinder, fiber, and tools. Cattails are supposed to be one of the best plants to find if you're in a survival situation. Now, like I said, this book is pretty basic in ways. It has pretty good ideas and it gives you a little understanding of the theory and the way to do it behind it. Here we go. But these are things, yeah. Or Muskrat Susie, Muskrat Sam, Mr. Duck. Like I said, these are not things you'd want to do if you just went on a nice little hike out to the dam and back, or you know, a couple hour hike up the Appalachian Trail or something. But if you're going to go for a week and test yourself, you know, you would practice some of these skills. You might want to try, you know, instead of eating, you know, dried jerky or whatever that you brought, you may want to try to catch, you know, some type of other creature. But this is what I think is kind of cool. Which hand am I holding on? This side, right here. Right here. This is how you make water, or not make water. You trap water from dew. But I think in this scenario, you need some plastic. Let me look at that. Yes, plastic sheet and a bucket. And he's got it. You don't have to have this, but what he's done here, he's set up kind of a permanent situation. Let me tilt that around. So he's dug in like a 20-inch hole. He's got a little bucket. He's ran a tube up and out of the hole. These are little mounds of dirt at the top. The plastic droops down. You put a stone in there. The plastic droops down, and it throughout the day it gets warm in the space in here under the plastic where the bucket is, and then at night the water condenses on the plastic. It runs down, drips off where the rock is into your bucket. Then you can use your siphon tube to just suck the water out of the bucket. You know, it makes for, and you don't have to, you know, mess with it. Yeah, yeah. So if you're going camping, you went with Craig, he might have a few egg rolls in his pocket that he's, you know, brought with him to eat. And if you didn't want to eat Craig's egg rolls, then maybe, you know, you could have duck. Peking duck. And you and Craig could have Peking duck and egg rolls on the Appalachian Trail by drowning a duck in a pond with a rock and a stick. It sounds quite quaint. But I dare say that egg rolls would go rather quickly. So it talks about finding pools of water. See, if you notice, this is kind of barren territory, maybe like desert, not desert, but you know, not at the woods of East Tennessee. You'll see in a shallow pool like this young man's drinking out of, it might be a half-inch deep and it collects rainwater. Now, I wouldn't want to drink out of that unless it had just rained. Then you know the water's fresh. But in an arid desert scenario, if you find water on a rock, it's not going to be there long because it's going to evaporate really quickly. So you have to make your mind up on how thirsty you really are. So, as a review, To me, basic outdoor survival is more about being prepared. And being prepared might be read up on some skills, get on the internet, find out what a good go bag is, go bag, put one together, for different uses. One for your car, one if you're going to go hiking, one if, you're planning on going for a weekend, or at least have a list, a checklist. If I'm going to go for a weekend, what? Underwear, clothes, toothpaste, toenail clippers, hairbrush, toothbrush, all those kind of things. Something to carry them in. So, basic outdoor survival skill is do your research, go prepared, think of your, what you're going to be doing. What are the chances something could go wrong? Do I need overnight food? Those kind of things. And, modern day, make sure you got a cell phone, make sure you've got a charger, make sure you've got potentially a battery backup, one of those little devices that charges different things. And, as your skill levels increase, read more, try different things, and test your skills in the backyard before you actually go put them into use. So, anyway, very basic, more of an introductory on outdoor survival. And like me and Ryan agree, the best survival for outdoors is just don't go out there. Stay at home. Let those adventurous, crazy types go out there and drink from a puddle and drown ducks in a pond to, eat their egg rolls with. That's probably my best, best advice is microwave everything. Stay at home. But that's not right. You should go out, adventure, have fun, but be prepared, be cautious, be a little paranoid, and find somebody like me that goes like, oh, I know Brian's not bringing all this stuff. I better take enough for two, and I'm going to be hungry, so let's take enough for four, and then, Brian can help me carry it, and he'll go, what are you bringing all this stuff for? I say, because I know you didn't. If something happens, we're going to be A-OK. A-OK. All right. Well, I guess that first one I did, I'm just going to delete. Now, it seems to be doing all right after the warm restart that it did for whatever reason. That's my problem. I've got to figure out why this thing. See, now it says it's been up for 14 minutes. When I looked at it before I started this, I've had this trouble. That was the trouble I had last time. It had been up for 22 hours. 22 hours without a reboot. And then the minute I get on, stuff starts happening. Need to figure this router out. So anyway, I appreciate you, Ryan. Thanks for coming by. And if you're watching this afterwards, like, subscribe to the channel, leave me comments. Give me, I don't know, send me some of your survival skill tips. But, oh, you're leaving? All right. Bye, Ryan. Bye, everybody. I guess I'm leaving too. Watch for the podcasts. I'm going to do some podcasts this weekend. I've got to convert them. They're old shows. Put them out there on Spotify as podcasts so people can listen to them or watch them from there instead of just on YouTube. Anyway, thanks, everybody. See you later. Bye.